Emma was a young woman who worked as a waitress in a small but busy diner located in the heart of a big city. Every day she woke up early to get ready for her long shifts. The diner was not a fancy place. It was a humble spot where people from all walks of life came to eat. Emma liked her job because it allowed her to meet many different people, and she enjoyed helping them feel welcome and comfortable. But working as a waitress was not easy. It meant standing for hours, carrying heavy trays filled with food and drinks, and sometimes dealing with customers who were impatient or rude. Still, Emma never complained. She knew that every dollar she earned was important because she was supporting her family. Her parents had grown old and could not work anymore, so she helped pay for their medicines and bills. She also had a little brother who was still studying in school. Emma dreamed of a better future for herself and her family, but she kept her hopes quiet and worked hard every day to get through life's challenges. One late afternoon, the diner was especially busy. It was a Friday, and many people had come to eat after a long week of work. The sound of conversations mixed with the clinking of dishes and the hiss of the coffee machine filled the air. Emma was running back and forth between tables, taking orders and delivering food. She smiled as much as she could, even though she was tired. She knew that a friendly face could make someone's day a little better. Suddenly, the atmosphere in the diner changed. The door burst open, and a man carrying a young woman rushed inside. Their faces were full of fear and worry. The woman was holding a phone, talking urgently to someone. Emma noticed that the young woman's voice was trembling. "Please, someone help," she cried. "My father is not breathing. He collapsed outside." Emma's heart beat faster. She quickly told the other waitresses to call for an ambulance. Meanwhile, she moved towards the door to see if she could help. Outside, lying on the sidewalk, was an older man who looked pale and weak. His eyes were closed and his chest was barely moving. Passers-by had stopped to watch but did not know what to do. Emma felt a strong urge to help. She remembered learning some basic first aid in school and had read about the importance of acting quickly in emergencies. She knelt down beside the man and tried to check his pulse. It was faint but still there. She asked the young woman, "Do you know if he has any medical problems? Is he taking any medicine?" The woman shook her head, tears rolling down her cheeks. The ambulance arrived within minutes, but the paramedics said they needed to act fast and would take the man to the nearest hospital immediately. Emma, still feeling anxious, followed the ambulance in her car to the hospital, just in case she could do something else to help. At the hospital, doctors rushed the man into the emergency room. Emma waited in the small waiting area, hoping and praying that he would be okay. After what felt like hours, a nurse came out and told her the man needed a blood transfusion. The hospital blood bank was running low, and they asked if anyone could donate blood quickly. Emma did not hesitate. She volunteered right away. She knew it was the right thing to do. The nurses took her to a small room where they checked her blood type and started the donation process. Emma was a little nervous but remained calm, thinking about the man who needed help. She did not know who he was or why he was so important, but that did not matter. Saving a life was what mattered. While Emma was donating blood, she thought about her own family. She hoped that if any of them were ever in trouble, someone would be there to help them too. Her mind was full of hope and kindness, and she felt a quiet strength inside her that she had never noticed before. After donating, Emma sat back in the waiting area. She felt tired, but satisfied, knowing she had done something good. The hospital staff thanked her many times, but Emma just smiled and said it was her duty as a human being. Days passed, and Emma returned to her normal life. She went back to the diner, served customers, and cared for her family. She never expected to hear anything more about the man she had helped. To her, it was just a small moment of kindness, something anyone could do. But little did Emma know, that small act of kindness would soon change her life in ways she could never imagine. After Emma donated her blood and went back to her normal life, she thought the story was over. She never expected to hear from the hospital again. Days passed, and the busy days at the diner continued as usual. Emma kept serving customers with her friendly smile, even though she was often tired. Life for her was still about working hard and taking care of her family. But one afternoon, something unexpected happened. Emma was finishing her shift when her phone rang. The number was from the hospital. She almost didn't answer, thinking it might be a mistake or a wrong number, but something inside told her to pick up. On the other side of the line was a kind nurse who explained that the man she had helped was awake and doing better. Emma felt a wave of relief and happiness. The nurse then said they wanted Emma to come back to the hospital for some follow-up tests, just to make sure everything was fine with her after the blood donation. Emma agreed. The next day, she went back to the hospital, curious and a little nervous. When she arrived, she was taken to a quiet room where a doctor greeted her. The doctor thanked Emma warmly for her help and explained that the man she had helped was very special. His name was Alexander Reed, and he was a billionaire. Emma was surprised. She had heard the name before but did not know much about him. Alexander was known for his large business empire that stretched across many countries. He was also known for giving money to charities and helping people in need, but he was a very private man and rarely appeared in public. The doctor told Emma that Alexander's life was saved because of her quick decision to donate blood. If she had not done it, things could have been very different. Emma felt a mixture of emotions. She was proud, but also a little overwhelmed. She had never thought that her small act of kindness would connect her to someone so powerful and important. The doctor explained that Alexander was recovering well and wanted to meet her to thank her personally. Emma agreed, feeling both excited and nervous. A few days later, she was invited to Alexander's home. The estate was large and beautiful, surrounded by gardens and tall trees. Emma felt out of place at first. She had never been in such a fancy house before. But when she met Alexander, she saw that he was different from what she had imagined. Alexander was calm and humble. He did not act like a typical billionaire who cared only about money and status. Instead, he spoke kindly and looked at Emma with genuine gratitude. He told her how her bravery had made a difference in his life and that he wanted to thank her properly. As they talked, Emma learned that Alexander had worked hard all his life to build his business, but he had also faced many challenges and losses. He told Emma that sometimes, even people with great wealth need help and kindness from others. Emma felt connected to him in a way she never expected. She realized that no matter who we are, kindness and courage are what truly matter. Over the next few meetings, Emma and Alexander spent more time together. They shared stories about their lives, their dreams, and their struggles. Emma spoke about her family and how hard she worked to support them. Alexander listened carefully and admired her strength and warmth. Their friendship grew stronger. Alexander was impressed by Emma's simple but honest life, and Emma was inspired by Alexander's kindness and humility. They showed each other that despite their different worlds, they could understand and care for one another deeply. One day, Alexander invited Emma to a charity event he was hosting. It was a big gathering, with many important guests and media. Emma felt nervous but accepted the invitation. At the event, she saw how Alexander used his power and wealth to help many people. She was proud to be part of something so meaningful. Emma's life was changing in ways she never imagined. From a waitress in a small diner, she was now walking beside a man who could change the world. But through it all, Emma stayed true to herself. She did not let the glitter or the attention change who she was. The story of Emma and Alexander was just beginning. What started as a simple act of donating blood had opened a door to a new world, a world of friendship, respect, and possibilities. After their first meeting at Alexander's grand home, Emma found herself thinking about him often. She never expected to meet someone so different from the people she knew, yet so kind and genuine. Alexander was not just a wealthy businessman. He was someone who cared deeply about people in the world around him. For Emma, this was a new experience, meeting a person whose life was so different, yet whose heart seemed to beat in the same way as hers. Alexander, too, found himself drawn to Emma's warmth and strength. He admired her honesty, the way she never tried to pretend to be someone she was not. In a world filled with false smiles and hidden intentions, Emma's straightforward nature was like a fresh breeze. Despite their different backgrounds, they shared many values: kindness, courage, and a desire to help others. These common feelings created a connection between them that neither of them expected but both welcomed. Over the next few weeks, Alexander invited Emma to spend more time with him. They met in quiet places, sometimes in the garden of his estate, other times at small cafes in the city. Emma felt nervous at first, unsure of how to act around a billionaire, but Alexander always made her feel comfortable. He treated her as an equal, never with the arrogance she had heard about in stories of the rich and powerful. One afternoon, as they sat together beneath a large oak tree, Alexander shared more about his life. He told Emma about the pressure he faced running a global company, the responsibility of making decisions that affected thousands of people. But he also spoke of loneliness. Despite all his success, he often felt isolated. Few people saw the real Alexander. Most only wanted to benefit from his wealth or status. Meeting Emma, someone who saw him simply as a person, had touched his heart deeply. Emma listened quietly, feeling honored that Alexander trusted her with his feelings. She shared stories from her own life too, about growing up in a small neighborhood, working hard to support her family, and dreaming of a better future. She told him how every day was a challenge, but also how those challenges made her stronger. Alexander admired her courage and resilience. He saw in her a light that money could never buy. Their conversations often drifted from serious topics to laughter and simple joys. Alexander loved hearing Emma's stories about the diner, the customers she served, and the funny things that happened in her daily life. Emma enjoyed learning about Alexander's travels and his favorite books. Despite their differences, they found comfort in each other's company. As their friendship grew, Alexander wanted to show Emma the world he lived in, not as a rich man, but as a person who cared deeply about making a difference. He invited her to visit some of the charities and projects he supported. Emma was amazed to see how much effort and passion Alexander put into helping others. She saw children getting education, families receiving medical care, and communities being rebuilt. It was a side of wealth she had never imagined, one that used money for kindness and hope. Emma's respect for Alexander grew even more. She saw that behind the luxury was a man who wanted to change the world for the better. She also saw that despite everything, Alexander was still learning and growing, just like her. They were two people from very different worlds, but walking a similar path of kindness and strength. One evening, after a day spent visiting a community center, Alexander invited Emma to dinner at his home. It was a quiet meal, just the two of them. As they ate, Alexander looked at Emma and said, "You have changed my life more than you know. Your courage to help a stranger, your kindness, your honesty. It has reminded me of what truly matters." Emma felt her heart warm at his words. She never imagined her small act of donating blood would lead to such a deep connection. "I only did what anyone should do," she replied softly. "But meeting you has also changed me. You have shown me that, no matter where we come from, we can make a difference." They sat in comfortable silence, feeling the beginning of something new and precious. For Emma, this was not about money or status. It was about finding someone who saw her for who she was and accepted her fully. For Alexander, it was about discovering a friendship that gave him hope and joy. As days passed, their bond grew stronger. Alexander introduced Emma to his closest friends and family. They welcomed her warmly, impressed by her genuine spirit and kindness. Emma, who had once felt like a small part of a big world, now felt she belonged somewhere. But she never forgot. Her roots are the people she loved. Emma's life began to change in small ways. She still worked at the diner, still cared for her family, but she also had new dreams. She wanted to learn more, to grow, and to help others just like Alexander did. Alexander encouraged her every step of the way, supporting her hopes and dreams, without trying to change her. Together, they planned ways to give back to the community. Emma shared ideas based on what she saw around her, and Alexander provided resources to make those ideas real. Their teamwork showed that true friendship and respect could bridge any gap. whether it was of money, background, or experience. Emma often thought about the night she donated blood. That simple decision, made in a moment of emergency, had brought her into a new world, a world where kindness and courage were more important than wealth or fame. She was grateful for every step of this journey and looked forward to what the future might hold. Alexander, too, felt grateful. Meeting Emma had reminded him of the simple joys in life and the power of true connection. He knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, he had found a friend who would stand by him and someone who understood him in a way few others did. Their story was no longer just about saving a life. It was about the beginning of a deep and lasting friendship. Friendship that would change them both forever. One sunny morning, Emma was getting ready for another visit to a nearby community center with Alexander. Over the past few months, they had spent a lot of time working on good causes together. Emma had become a regular part of Alexander's life. His team, his friends, even the people he worked with had come to know her and respect her for her heart, ideas, and honesty. Still, Emma had never let all the attention change who she was. She still helped her mother cook, took her younger brother to school when she could, and visited the diner from time to time, just to say hello to her old co-workers. No matter how much her surroundings changed, Emma stayed grounded. Alexander admired that about her. He often said Emma brought balance into his world. While he had spent years working in boardrooms, meeting powerful people, and running companies, he had forgotten how meaningful simple moments could be. Emma helped him slow down and appreciate life in a new way. Her kindness, strength, and cheerful spirit reminded him of what really mattered. One evening, after they returned from a visit to a school they had helped renovate, Alexander seemed thoughtful. He didn't talk much during dinner, though he kept looking at Emma with a soft smile. Emma noticed but didn't ask questions right away. She knew Alexander well enough to understand that sometimes he needed time to gather his thoughts. After dinner, Alexander asked Emma to join him in the garden. The sky was painted with the soft colors of sunset, and the gentle breeze made the trees rustle quietly. They walked side by side in silence for a few minutes. Then Alexander stopped near a small stone bench under a flowering tree and invited Emma to sit with him. "I've been thinking about something for a while," he began, his voice gentle. Emma turned to look at him, sensing that he was about to say something important. "When I first met you, I didn't even know your name. I only knew that someone had helped save my life. But over time, I got to know the kind of person you are. Brave, selfless, caring. Someone who sees people, not just faces or titles." Emma smiled but stayed quiet, giving him space to speak. "You changed the way I look at life," Alexander continued. "You reminded me of values I had forgotten, and the truth is I can't imagine my days without your presence anymore. You're not just someone I respect. You're someone I care deeply about." Emma felt her heart beat a little faster. She had grown close to Alexander, too. Their friendship had become one of the most important parts of her life. Still, hearing these words out loud made her feel both nervous and hopeful. Alexander reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small box. He opened it slowly to reveal a simple yet beautiful ring. It wasn't flashy or too expensive looking. Instead, it reflected warmth and sincerity, just like him. "I'm not asking you to step into a world where you have to change who you are," he said. "I'm asking you to walk with me, just as you are, and let's build something real together. Emma, will you be my partner? Not just in life, but in everything we do? Will you say yes to a future with me?" Emma was speechless for a moment, not because she was unsure, but because she felt so deeply moved. She had never imagined this. When she donated blood that night at the hospital, she didn't expect anything in return. She just wanted to help someone in need. Now that simple act had led her to a moment like this, a moment full of love, trust, and hope. Tears welled up in her eyes, but they were happy tears. She nodded slowly, a bright smile on her face. "Yes, Alexander," she said softly. "Yes, I will." Alexander slipped the ring onto her finger gently, And they sat there under the evening sky, holding hands in silence. No big celebration, no cameras. Just two hearts quietly agreeing to walk through life together. News of their relationship spread slowly, but it surprised many people. Some wondered how a billionaire like Alexander could fall for a waitress. Others, however, saw the beauty in their story, how kindness, not money, brought them together. Emma continued to live a life of purpose. She began working more closely with Alexander on social projects and even started one of her own, a support center for working women and single mothers. Her idea was simple: to give strength to those who carried heavy burdens alone, just like she once did. Alexander stood by her side, helping make the dream real. Though she now lived in a bigger house, attended events, and met people she had only seen on TV before, Emma never forgot where she came from. She always carried the values her parents taught her: kindness, hard work, and humility. And Alexander loved her all the more for it. They faced their share of challenges too, balancing work, public attention, and responsibilities. But they tackled them together. Every time Emma looked at Alexander, she remembered that moment outside the diner when she made a quick decision to donate blood. She never thought that one act would change her life, but it did. It brought her love, friendship, and a future she never dared to dream of. Alexander, too, often thought about that night. He believed that fate had given him not only a second chance at life, but also the chance to find someone who truly understood him. As their story continued, many people looked up to them, not because of their wealth or fame, but because of the strength of their bond and the kindness they carried into everything they did. Emma and Alexander's life together was a beautiful journey that grew richer with every passing day. Their story had started with a simple act of kindness, Emma donating blood to save Alexander's life, and it had blossomed into a deep friendship and then into love. But life, as always, was full of surprises, challenges, and moments that tested their bond. After their engagement, Emma found herself stepping into a world she had only dreamed about. There were new responsibilities and expectations, but she faced them all with her usual courage and kindness. Alexander was always there, supporting her and making sure she felt comfortable and valued every step of the way. Their wedding was a simple yet elegant celebration, held in a beautiful garden, surrounded by their closest family and friends. It was not a showy event filled with extravagance, but a warm gathering full of laughter, tears of joy, and promises for the future. Emma wore a modest dress that made her shine with natural beauty, and Alexander looked calm and happy as he held her hand and vowed to be by her side forever. After the wedding, life did not slow down for Emma and Alexander. They continued working together to make the world a better place. Emma's passion for helping others grew stronger. She started visiting different parts of the country to meet women and families who needed support. With Alexander's resources and her compassionate heart, they built schools, health clinics, and shelters for those in need. Emma never forgot her roots. She always stayed in touch with the diner where she once worked and made sure to visit her old co-workers regularly. She even helped fund scholarships for young students from her neighborhood, giving them a chance to study and achieve their dreams. For Emma, success was not about money or fame. It was about lifting others up and sharing kindness. Alexander admired Emma more each day. He often said that her humility and strength were the greatest gifts he had ever received. He learned from her how to appreciate the small things in life: a good meal, a heartfelt conversation, a moment of quiet peace. Together they built a life full of love, respect, and purpose. But life was not always easy. The world outside was often harsh and unpredictable. There were moments when Emma and Alexander faced criticism or pressure from people who did not understand their relationship or their values. Sometimes the media focused more on their differences than their love. Yet through every challenge, Emma and Alexander stood strong together. They found comfort in each other's arms and strength in their shared dreams. They talked openly about their fears and hopes, always reminding themselves why they chose this path. Their love was a source of courage, helping them face difficulties with patience and hope. One day, as they sat together watching the sunset from their home's balcony, Alexander turned to Emma and said, "Do you remember the night you donated blood? That small decision changed everything. I don't think I could ever thank you enough for that moment. Emma smiled softly. It was just a small thing, she replied. But sometimes, small things have the greatest power. It's about caring and choosing to help when it matters most. Alexander took her hand and held it gently. I want to spend the rest of my life making sure that kindness spreads far and wide. With you by my side, I believe we can do that. Together they dreamed of a future where everyone had a chance to live with dignity and hope. They continued their work, reaching more people, inspiring more hearts. Their love story was no longer just theirs. It was a story of how kindness, courage, and true connection could change the world. Emma often thought about how far she had come, from a simple waitress to a woman who stood beside a billionaire, not because of wealth but because of the love and respect they shared. She was grateful for every step, every moment, and every person who had helped shape her journey. And Alexander knew, deep in his heart, that meeting Emma was the greatest gift life had given him. Their story showed that true richness comes from the heart, and that no matter where you start, kindness can lead you to incredible places. Together they walked forward, hand in hand, ready to face whatever the future held, knowing that their love and kindness would light the way.